Hello everybody. Now, a year ago today, my good friend Rosey Clearlite died of cancer. And so I'd like to make a video to thank her for all the help and education she provided me as a good friend of mine. I started off shortly after she died last year making a series of videos that I call the JodyVision. Because a lot of the things that I've been experiencing in my life that I've been struggling with are a big part of the reason I came up here to Montana to live with Rosey. So I'm actually surprised that I'm still here at the house. I thought I was going to move out sooner, but I think I might be here a little bit longer. So I was trying to decide if I should go back to Denver or stay up here, depending on how things work out. But right now, I'm working 2 part-time jobs that work well together, and they're fun and they're paying me. So I'm going to see how that works out before we go on to other things. But I'm going to stop and talk a little bit about Rosey Clearlite and the education that I've been receiving throughout my life. So in my series called the JodyVision, I did a few videos I call my fairy godmother and my leprechaun, just kind of jokingly that, well, Rosey has been a very magical person in my life. So I recommend watching those videos to learn more about who she was. But I've been going through and sorting out all the stuff that she left me. And as you see, I have this nice wall hanging here I found, so I moved my stuff around a little bit. I had all my stuff over there, but I thought I could probably do a better job sorting things out this way. And one of the things I found that I inherited was this nice blanket. And if you think about it, if you ask somebody what they think magic is, they'd point at something like that. That's magic. So so a lot of my friends tend to either be really Christian or religious, and if we talk about magic, they're like, ooh, that's taboo, we don't want to go there. Or some of my friends might be very atheist, and they're so, oh, Jody, that's just all make-believe, and that doesn't exist. Well, here's the funny thing is everybody knows what magic is and how magic works because of all the literature and movies we watch, right? And so, magic is this energy. You whirl your hand, you roll your wand around, you get this energy going. There's a lot of truth to that, actually. It's just the fact that we learn so much of it from movies and stories that it's easy to just say it's not real and it doesn't exist except only in movies and stories. Well, there is some truth to that, but we got to understand it can only go so far, because what the lesson is in all of this is that conscious presence, which is you, is a force in nature. You are a force in nature, and we make impact on nature, and we should know that just by looking at all the different stuff we have, like this building, these tapes, everything here is a product of conscious presence as a force in nature. And that's why a human being can build things. So that's pretty clear and evident, right? We can prove that just by looking at all the highways and cities that we've built. But it's been difficult to deal with conscious presence and the unknown levels. Okay, so we a lot of times think the only reason we experience conscious presence is because we have a brain and it's causing it. But what's really happening, at least to my understanding, is it facilitates it. That your brain is more of a tool that we use to facilitate being in the body, being able to receive information. So it's really for the animal body. But as a soul, you may live on and on and on. So this is a really big topic, that what really happens in the spirit realm, what is really magic, or it's a very big question. Well, this has been my life study. So if you watch my videos or you know me, I've always been kind of interested in psychic awareness and paranormal activity just because I've been experiencing a little bit. And like, if you go back to the hang-on in my room, that's like one of the first things to what you call spark an interest in the paranormal, because it was literally a living ball of light in my room that seemed to have a mind of its own. So there's a version of conscious presence experiencing its reality, right? So, and then later, I've discovered I've been going to visionary state all these years. And it came crashing in like 99 into 2000. So if you go back into my videos and look for a timeline for my visions, when I was about 24 years old, that's when I really woke up to the whole visionary state experience thing. And it's been very difficult to work through. And so I've been telling my stories kind of piece at a time, and so far I've talked a little bit about Billy and how I finally realized who he is. So Billy out to be this guy. So if you look at my life, I've got two major communities I belong to. There's my music community, because my father and I listen to music a lot together. That's been kind of our thing, something I get from home. Now, when it comes to industrial music, there's a guy named Genesis Peorage. I think he's not my favorite person in the world, but I really appreciate him. I'd say his music and his philosophy's been a very important part of my life, and it plays out in all the music I love, and some of his partners, Chris and Cozy, going off and doing their own thing. So listening to that kind of music has always, it's something that ties in with magic and psychic awareness. Now, when it comes to those guys, I mean, Genesis Peorage has always been a major advocate for psychic awareness, and I agree with a lot of the stuff he thinks about. I'm just not into, the body modification and all that. Now, when it comes to Bill Lieb, though, I'm not really sure where he stands on magic. I think it's something he knows a lot about, and something that it comes out in his music, whether he likes it or not. He's just a magical guy. So you might think that Bill Lieb is really good at music all due to hard work and discipline, but I think he's just sort of a naturally born magical person. For all I know, he could have been a composer in a past life. So, whether he sees it that way, I don't really see him as a big advocate for psychic awareness and all that, because since he's been in my visions, I've written to him and tried to share all of my stories, and he's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Doesn't really have a lot to say about it. But I tell you what, his wife, his friends, his girlfriends, anybody that seems to be aware of what I'm talking about, they really like to lay into me and tell me, it's not okay to talk about that stuff. You might need to seek professional help and all this sort of stuff. Well, if you think I'm bad, you should see Master Tay now. So later on, I got into the Shaolin system, and I made friends with the Grand Master. The Grand Master Tay is this guy, the Asian guy in the picture, if you could see it at all. Anyways, if you think I'm bad talking about my visions, you should see Master Tay's book here. So I'm going to show you this book he wrote. Okay. You got to get this book if you're a Shaolin student. Half of the story takes place in reality, half of the story takes place in the visionary state. Now, meeting Master Tay was a big help in providing confirmation. He's one of the few people who didn't call me crazy, because it sounds like his story's even crazier, but it's great because it's just further confirmation, and meeting Rosey. So now Rosey, I guess she kind of fits more into my martial arts community. I don't know, just I kind of have like a community of just people that are into spiritual stuff and psychic awareness, but she's had a lot of experience around the music scene back in the hippie days, but it's not really my music. It's kind of like Grateful Dead and stuff. I guess those are all trippers and stuff, but I'm more from the other end of the spectrum, more electronic industrial music. So she really only knows as much as she did because I shared my knowledge with her, right? And so at least she had an education and this other end of music before she died, and she really enjoyed it when I turned around to more like the trance and stuff like that. But here on my martial arts side, I talked about in one of my other videos meeting Ron Curran, which I didn't have any pictures of, but he and I talked a lot about stuff to do with spirituality and psychic awareness, and so some of my spiritual training comes from being in the martial arts as well. So I feel like the music I listen to, there's definitely spiritual training that's coming with that, especially putting me through visionary state and all that type of thing. So, it's neither of our choosing. Like, Bill Lieb and I didn't choose this, and for all I know, he probably doesn't like being in my stories and having me talk about him, but it's just due to the circumstances. Maybe he was just the right guy for the job, but so I grew up with these visions of Bill Lieb and experiencing this magical thing that I've had to work through, and it's been a very heavy form of education, but it's something that's been complicated because it kind of brings a lot of negative responses. So it's something that we've had to work through, and so that's where I really needed Rosey in my life, because she understood what I'm going through, because she herself has also been in visionary state very many times. And not only that, but she's a UFO abductee and a contactee, so she's been helpful in me dealing with my visions, as well as just the whole realm of psychic awareness. And she takes me further into the aliens. Like, I didn't used to be interested in aliens, extraterrestrials so much, but she's really helped a lot Because, starting with, here's my personal stuff going on, seeing stuff in my room, going to visionary state. So what I'm learning about is how conscious presence experiences reality. So what I have to share, what my understanding is that conscious presence, we experience it as an animal in this body, but when the brain shuts down or the body is stressed, or for many different reasons, you may experience reality outside of the body. So that's where astral travel is a great start. That's when I was about 11 or 12. My father introduced me to astral travel. We were listening to Cabaret Voltaire, maybe something paranormal in the subject matter, like spirits walking, ghosts talking. We started talking ghosts and stuff. So he brought up astral travel to me, and I loved it because the idea that you can experience reality outside of the body. And then before that, of course, I would go and talk to my mom and interrupt her while she's trying to read her book and say, tell me some ghost stories. I want to hear some real stuff, like not just fiction. And she'd tell me some good ghost stories in reality. And so that's just another aspect of understanding spirit nature, that there are, people who were formerly human beings, they're deceased and they're walking as spirit beings. So understanding life after death, understanding astral travel, this is to understand that you can exist as a conscious presence outside of the body in a disembodied form. So now when it comes to conscious presence, human beings on earth, we're like the top level, right? We are the most conscious and aware and knowledgeable animal there is, and everything else, every other animal and life force is somewhere beneath us in their level of capacity and awareness and knowledge, or all of this. So just as that is true, then so is that above that there are other beings in the living universe that are experiencing reality at a higher, more expanded level than we are. But what we need to understand is that the living universe is a very big construct. It's, so big we can't even see it all, but we do understand it like we've never understood before. Like only 500 years ago did we think that Earth was flat and that the universe revolved around. But what we're really finding out is that we're somewhere out and part of the universe, kind of living near the edge of our galaxy, and that the living universe, only a small portion of it exists in the physical reality. If you look at the atom, only a small portion of it seems to have any matter to it. So just like the atom, the majority of the living universe seems to be kind of hollow, but it's filled with something. It's the quantum energy field. It's the quantum field, the energetic quantum field is what connects the entire universe. And the physical part of it is more like the framework. So we're kind of like, we're a very important part of the living universe because we're living in a physical reality, which is the framework. So the whole rest of the living universe kind of cares about us, but they all exist more on a plasmic or spiritual level. Now, only so many people can communicate with them. So just as for example, what if the whole world was blind and only so many people could see? Most people could kind of see and only a few had true clarity. Well, this is what psychic awareness is like. For some reason, it seems like most people don't really have it that much, except for just a little bit. Maybe people can relate to deja vu and dreams that are premonitions once in a while. Maybe some people have even seen ghosts, but most people don't have it. And just some people seem to have psychic awareness. Like myself, it's not that great. I don't have a lot of mastery of it, but then some people are just clear as a bell. They know what's going on. And so those people are out here acting as mediums and helping to channel information from the higher beings. So like Rosey, she was in contact with extraterrestrial beings, so that really helped give her a lot of insight. She could watch the Ancient Alien show and be able to tell what's true and what's not true and stuff like that. It gives her a level of discernment. So let's talk about the name Clearlite in itself. Her husband, Howard Clearlite, was the first American to run a Zen monastery. So that's kind of a fun little piece of American history that I've encountered by meeting the two of these guys. And so I didn't know Howard very much, but I'm sure by being married to him, they probably shared a lot of their knowledge with each other. She's more of the yogini. And so they both have learned a lot from the Vedic lineages, which is during that part of our cultural revolution where we had what you call hippies, what they're a part of is a spiritual counterculture. And so the best alternative to Christianity at the time was the Zen Buddhist stuff and the Vedic stuff coming from yoga and all that. And so those guys were part of it. And that's very exciting that me as a spiritual student have met them and been able to learn from them, but mostly through Rosey's help. Anyways, but she's definitely helped me through a lot of this and helped me to kind of see the bigger picture. So I would like to make more and more videos to do with my understanding of magical things, so I just use that word loosely, because there's no such thing as magic, but there is to some degree, depending on how you define it. When we talk about otherworldly things, like there's no such thing as heaven, well, that depends on how we define it. Things like this. Really, a lot of what we do here on Earth is we try to create a vocabulary and have a definition for everything that's around. And so whether or not we can define it really depends on if we can perceive it. So with the name Clearlight being an honorary name, what we hope to achieve is Clearlight awareness, or just good old-fashioned clarity. So some of the dilemma we face as a humanity, as a human being, is we can't know everything and we can't always be right. Think about a baby growing up to be an adult, a little child. They don't know everything. They have to learn it from the others. And then there's a lot of self-discovery. And then as they develop, their brain becomes more capable of taking on new knowledge. So the whole human race is like that one baby. We're all kind of going through phases of development together. And we're at a phase of development where, we do know a lot. We got to give ourselves credit. We've done a great job of learning how the world works. But we have to go on to the next level, which is understanding how conscious presence works and how much it's a force in nature beyond just being able to build houses and cars and be able to make stories and movies, but the more we understand about conscious presence and how it works in nature, the more we can assist the living universe. So what we call God might just be the one original soul that all souls came from. Just as the Big Bang implies, it's one place where all material came from. So similarly, all spirit matter and soul matter all came from the same place too. So we may have what you call a father in heaven. Is just a good term for being our one ancestor that permeates the entire universe. So the universe works like a neural network, and we can kind of communicate with it. So that's where, science, that we have, the science knowledge we have on Earth, is all the stuff we know based on what we can see with our eyes in a physical way. So some people are just to the scientism end of the spectrum, where some people are too religious, right? They don't want to even listen to science. It's kind of ridiculous. So either one can be bad for you. You really got to see both sides of it, because with the nature, scientific things take effect on us, whether we like them or not, believe in them or know about them even. And same with spirit nature. Similarly will take effect on us, whether we believe in it or not, know about it or like it, right? So there are a part of nature that was spiritual and to do with conscious presence. That's all it is how we apply our will, is what's going to determine the outcome in our reality. So anyways, the study of spirituality, the study of psychic awareness really comes together on bringing humanity into a state of clarity where we can be so aware of things. So it's to illuminate, so I'm helping to bring light into the world and uncover the unknown by sharing my experiences and my knowledge. And there's plenty of people out there doing it and doing a way better job, but I'm just one more person. I might be the best person for you to hear it from for some reason. And I can just add more confirmation to the reality of magic, to the reality of spirit nature. It all ties in, So anyways, I really appreciate Rosey Clearlight. She definitely earned her name, for helping to bring clarity into my life, and that everything I learned, I love to teach out. So, I just really want to say a big thank you to Rosey Clearlight on her it's kind of like a birthday in reverse, So we were very happy as she was able to cross over and leave behind a body that was no longer useful to her, because we know that there is life after death, and she intends to hang out with me for a little while. In fact, I actually have her ashes here with my music collection and things like this, and I'm going to keep these ashes with me as I continue to resolve everything that I have here and clear up all of the belongings. But on the other side, Rosey's pretty much set free, and I believe that she's still with me and going to help guide me for a little while till I reach a good place. So I really thank her. And for anyone who knew Rosey Clearlite, you know, I want you to know that she's been a real blessing to me. And, you know, sometimes I'm wondering, what the hell am I doing here with all this stuff? I don't know what to do with all this stuff, but it's given me time to think over the past year what we're doing on Earth. And so, you know, I have my business plans, I have my art plans, but what it really all comes down to is bringing magic into the world in a good way. So we're really what you call making heaven on earth, whether that exists or not, depends on how we define it. But who doesn't want life to be better? No matter how you slice it, I'm just here to give people the freedom and liberation that we should have through knowing the truth about what is real and what's available to us in the form of what we call magic or life and light. You know, life and light is all around us and is just like air. The more you know about it, so everybody benefits from air, but when you learn Qigong and yoga, you're going to benefit from it a lot more, or any type of breathing methodology. Well, magic is in the air, and the more you know about it, the more you can utilize it and benefit from it. So, yeah, so Rosey Clearlite, and of course Howard Clearlite definitely deserve the name Clearlite, and that I like to spread that the tradition of teaching to anyone who wants to sit and live with me. This is how I've learned, is just from friends who sit and teach me and be my friend. So hopefully I can keep this non-tradition alive of just sharing my knowledge without a classroom and without a program. It's just me, Jody, here. And best wishes to Rosey on the other side. And hopefully we will see some colorful things happening in my life thanks to all her help and assistance. So everyone have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.